America's 41st president, George H.W. Bush, passed away last week as he was the 12th president to be laid in state in our Capitol Rotunda. Surrounded by 8 beautiful paintings of our republic's history from the Declaration of Independence to the baptism of Pocahontas, President Bush's Capitol ceremony reminded America of the exceptionalness of our republic and the sacrifice given by so many brave and valiant members of our great U.S. military. Thousands and thousands of Americans from California to Maine, they paid homage to President Bush as they walked by his U.S. flag-draped coffin, giving their final respects. A young Boy Scout came up to the coffin and in deep respect stood at attention, saluting his president for a long minute. The moment that grabbed our hearts profoundly was when 95-year-old former presidential candidate Senator Bob Dole, recipient of the Purple Heart and Bronze Star during World War II, being assisted out of his chair, stood at attention and saluted his fellow World War II brother, recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross, 94-year-old George H.W. Bush. During April of 1945, Second Lieutenant Robert Joseph Dole of the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division was fighting to liberate Italy from the Nazis. Badly wounded by German machine gun fire in his upper back and right arm, the medics thought he would never survive his devastating wounds. Bob Dole then went on to serve his country in Washington, D.C., and he was only one step away from being President of the United States. During September of 1944, Lieutenant George Herbert Walker Bush of the U.S. Navy's Torpedo Squadron 51 was fighting to liberate Asia from the Imperial Japanese and was shot down over the Japanese island of Chichijima. George Bush was rescued and went on to serve his country with dignity and became the President of the United States of America. Now, the passing of President Bush is a passing of a great generation, many of whom became presidents. From number 34, Dwight Eisenhower, to number 41, George Bush. All of those presidents served in either the U.S. Army or the U.S. Navy during World War II. Now, studies sadly tell us that the present millennial generation is quite ignorant of American history and is sadly attracted to socialism and big government activity. There was a day when both Democrat and Republican World War II veterans and presidents fought the tyranny of big governments and the soul-destroying effects of socialism. Whether it was the tyrannical governments of National Socialism, Soviet Socialism, Cuban Socialism, Chinese Socialism, and Korean Socialism, our youth must be taught the destruction of life and liberty socialism brings, and the brilliance of our founders' constitutional republic and their ideas of a limited federal government over the sovereignty of we the people. As this great World War II generation fades away, let us dedicate ourselves to capturing the hearts of this present young generation on whose shoulders our republic's survival will soon rest. God bless you, President George H.W. Bush, and God bless America. I'm Dr. Jake Jacobs, and we'll see you next time on One Nation.